I drove my 2024 GMC Sierra 1500 Duramax 18,000 miles in 6 months. And there's a lot of really great things about this truck, but there are quite a few things that also caught me off guard. So let's start with the things that I didn't really like or were not my favorite. So going inside, I think I mentioned it in my like 3,000 mile review, but the reflective surfaces like everywhere, man, they are so bright. Some days you forget about it. Sometimes you go by and like you have weeks where it doesn't have a problem, but there are just reflective things everywhere. I still don't know what the solution is. Please leave a comment down below if you know what to do for all of these. They look really nice, but matte black would look really bad and carbon fiber would just be goofy. So I don't really know. GMC come out with something because I'll buy it and put it in here. Really, there aren't many other dislikes. They're just kind of like pet peeves. One of them being your phone disconnecting from Bluetooth. Sometimes I want to do that when I'm idling, working on the phone or something like that. You can't just press Bluetooth on your phone. You have to go into the settings and disconnect your phone. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's really good at connecting. Don't get me wrong, it's really good at doing its job and getting connected to the truck, but it takes a minute. That's just a pet peeve. The speakers, I think, are trash for a $60,000 truck. At least that's what the MSRP is. I didn't pay that much, but speakers do not go up that loud. When you're in the truck, volume gets to like 3/4 and you can still have a very normal conversation, which for me, I do like to listen to music with the windows down. So if your windows are down, 3/4 volume up isn't enough. And if you go above that, it gets really distorted, really screwed up. Taking it to the dealer, they don't have a good solution. So the option or the fix for that is upgrading the speakers or just getting some good bass or something in the back seat. Haven't decided that. Don't really want to do it. I don't think I should have to do it, but that's a thing for future upgrade. And then the only other dislike I have, like the front end looks really good. I'm just kind of like frustrated that the aftermarket hasn't come out for the diesels. They just came out with aftermarket for the 5.3 and 6.2. DV8 came out with a sweet looking bumper. Addictive Desert Designs has a bumper. I'm not a crazy fan about it, so that's why it's not here. Maybe someone will make one for this truck because you can get quite a bit more clearance there on the side. But as far as dislikes go, it's really pretty solid. Not a whole lot of dislikes, but let's get into what I do like specifically about the Sierra that you may or may not have noticed before. First, obviously just the look. It looks super great. The black bezeling is a great thing on the elevation. I don't really like the chrome that comes on the ET4. This is super cool. Makes it really unique. Looks super blacked out from the beginning. Not going to really talk about wheels and tires just yet. These steps are awesome. These could not be better. I don't have a mud flap anymore because of the tires, and they really do block everything. You can see the line of what does get kicked up, and it's really just here. This whole truck side is protected from this. It's metal, it's bed lined, it's high clearance. It really does a great job, and it looks cool. I've always liked the Raptor steps that come on the Ford Raptor, and these are the same thing, but without being such like a huge, crazy platform like those kind of like bow out and do a whole thing. This looks perfect, just like that. The ride is super good. If you want a street truck and the stock ride, if you're going off-road, the Rancher shocks aren't great, but everything as a whole, this truck is really well put together. If you have kids or passengers in the back seat room is huge. I got a box in the way, but I'm 6'something", 6'12", whatever I am. Even with the box, look at all this room. Even I got a hat here. Look at this space. Even with being crunched up on a box, look at all this room. Like, okay, so I'm like 6'3.5", but like you can see what you're working with here. It's huge. It's monster. It's great for a road trip. So much room. Tons of under seat storage too. Let's move that. Look at all this space. You didn't even know I had all that stuff. Look at that. Just comes out of nowhere. These back pockets, super cool. Big fan of these things. Obviously, great place to put dirty stuff. Not crazy about the fact that it didn't come with a bed liner, but I'll fix that. But haven't had a need for it yet. I'll wait for it to get scratched up and then get a need later, you know? Why bother? But otherwise, like, it's just a good looking truck. The 3.0 Duramax, which is the whole, I guess, point of this truck, the torque is never ending, and I'll get into miles per gallon in a little bit, but the torque is always there. The range is great. It's always above 500 miles, and it's even better when you don't mess with it and lift it. You get 600-700 miles per a tank, which is insane. So, you know, let's just keep talking about fuel economy. Let's just keep going into it. So I'm still getting like 20 24 miles per gallon right now with city, highway, rush hour traffic, that sort of thing. A little bit of mix everything. We are in Texas. It is not flat here. It is hilly. So take that for what you will. There is some coasting down hills, but you got to get back up them. We don't live in Kansas, so I don't know what to tell you for what that would look like. Stock, I was in the 30s, 30 mile per gallon range. Pretty amazing. You know, I was getting 600-700 miles to a tank on a 24 gallon, 25, 26 gallon, whatever the tank is. 24 or 26 gallon tank. In pretty insane getting that much range. Like, you could, for me, you drive from South Texas to Colorado on 2 tanks of gas. Basically one stop is crazy for like 20 hours of driving. It's amazing. Yeah, fuel economy is a huge plus. Really awesome. But let's talk about like towing. So yeah, you got miles per gallon, but a lot of y'all like to tow. You buy trucks for towing and for truck things. Now, I've only towed a couple times with this truck, and I'll just be honest with you. I'm gonna tell you all some things based on what other people have told me. My quick experience with towing, honestly, if it's me, the 5.3 and the Duramax, as far as towing goes, this has great torque all the time. It always has torque, but 5.3 is probably going to do just as good a job. In general, I'm ready for the comments to blow up because I said that. The downside to this one with towing is the diesel exhaust fluid. When I did tow, I did not tow that long or that far, but I can tell you in like a really short distance, the diesel exhaust fluid dropped bars. Like, I'm only adding diesel exhaust fluid into this truck like once every 5 or 6 tanks of diesel. Like, it's really not bad, but when you're towing, this thing, it plummets, it just falls. And, you know, it's doing its job. Ordinarily, it's extremely efficient, so you got to trade off when you are towing that it runs through it. Now, I don't know, I said what I said about the 5.3. I haven't really towed enough to give a really qualified answer to that, but I would just say the diesel exhaust fluid, be prepared to have an extra box in your truck if you're going anywhere further than a couple hours, just to be safe, because running out of diesel exhaust fluid will make your day not great if you have experience with that. And the reason for that being, if you run out of diesel exhaust fluid, your truck goes into limp mode. It does give you a warning, but you're going to get there faster, so just have extra with you. Don't leave it in the sun. You know the rules for diesel exhaust fluid. If not, leave comments down below. Let people answer the questions. That's what we're here for. That's the whole point of this video. Let's talk about ownership costs, though, with this Sierra we got. Actually, that's a goofy thing. This little push button for a P, for a park it, that's just goofy. So ownership cost is actually going to be a little bit, from my perspective-ish, because this is going to be regionally effective. Let's get y'all, well, maybe we get you a little sound clip real quick. Actually, it sounds better in like the grocery store parking lot, but that's besides the point. So, ownership costs is gonna heavily depend on where you live. So where I live, diesel today, as of this recording, is just under $3 a gallon, which is really close to like $2.60 of what regular gas is. But if you're gonna take care of your truck, you might buy mid-grade or premium. You're gonna pay the same in fuel. Oil changes cost more on this truck. They do cost more, and that's just a hard reality. When I do like to go to the dealership, especially while the truck is new with low miles, just to keep their fingerprint on it. It's getting like $150 for an oil change, fuel filter, and whatever other random little thing they want to do. But that includes a tire rotation and then a general inspection, which I always appreciate just because they touched it. They said everything was fine, so if I drive away and there's a problem, I'm a little more covered than the generic oil change place. Or doing it in my driveway, because these trucks are full of wires and electronics, so it is what it is. Anyways, back to being on topic, because that's extremely off topic. Ownership costs. Oil changes are going to cost a bit more. You have to buy diesel exhaust fluid every 5 tanks, and if you go to AutoZone, you're going to pay $20 every time you got to get diesel exhaust fluid. But go find a truck station, truck shop, whatever. If you have Buc-ee's near you, go there, get the diesel exhaust fluid from the pump. It's going to save you a ton of money. It's like half price or something like that when you get it through the pump, because you're not buying the box and the cardboard and the plastic, and you're not throwing away garbage just because you had to fill up your exhaust fluid. The containers those things come in are insane, and the amount of garbage that it creates is silly. So gas stations with diesel exhaust fluid pumps, usually truck stops or a Buc-ee's, Here's your answer there. That's how you save money. Outside of that, the main other maintenance that you're going to have on this truck is there's a belt in the motor. In these new 2023s and up, you replace them every 150,000 miles, and then the previous generation LM2 motors, what is that, like 2020 to 2022? I don't know what those years were. Anyways, those are every 100,000 miles. And it's not a cheap fix. I believe it's like 10 grand, 8 grand, something. They take your motor apart, replace the belt instead of a timing, what, I don't know what it is. It's a belt instead of a chain. That's all I know. I'm not a mechanic. There's a thing they got to do to replace it. That's what the instructions or the recommended guidance is. I don't think your truck's going to explode at 100,000 or 100,000, 150,000 miles. I don't think it's just going to explode. I don't think that's what's going to happen. But that's what they recommend doing to keep things running properly. Let's talk about the off-road goodness. So going off-road, this is going to be heavily biased towards the upgrades that I've done with this truck, because while I did do some off-roading with this truck stock, I am going to be biased because I did more hardcore off-road with the coilover suspension I have. I did do some with the stock suspension, and I can speak to it. The stock Rancho suspension is good enough. If you're going to go to a ranch or something, it's fine. It's really low to the ground, so you have to watch your ground clearance. It's really stiff in the back, so it's not super comfortable. It's fine if you're going on-road. If you're just going to stay on-road, you really don't need to change anything. I do like to go backcountry camping, off the grid, those sorts of things, and I do work in the energy industry, so when I do go to work, I usually go to rural places when I'm driving on properties before roads are built. That is part of the job. So some of these were for fun, some of these were for needed purposes, but for y'all that are curious that haven't seen, the suspension upgrade that we did was a 3-inch lift in the front. It has Cognito upper control arms. If you're going to lift these new trucks, replace these ball joints are not good from the factory. If you're going to modify, we did coilovers here, again 3 inches of lift. We did 295/70 R18 tires. This is the Wild Peak AT4W. This comes out to like a 34 and a half inch tall tire. And then the wheels are Method race wheels. This is the Method NV 305 with the double black, with the black bolts and the shiny black thing. These are positive 18 offset, so they do not stick out very much, and that's how I wanted it. I wanted to rub as little as possible. I did have to cut. I have videos on that. Check it out. I uploaded those recently before this one, so I'll put links to that in the description below if you want to hop over there. Feel free. But the off-road performance, I'll put some clips in. We did go to Domo Off-Road Park, where they're building a proper racetrack north of Austin. Super cool place, but they did have a Raptor Day set up, so naturally the Sierra with just some coilovers showed up to join the party, and it did pretty well. I didn't jump it like everybody else. I did want to not bend my frame, but it did great. I pushed it a little hard. Like, I could have pushed it harder, but I pushed it harder than I thought I was going to. I probably got like 50-60 miles an hour off-road, bouncing around, held its own really well. I do think that event helped break in the suspension more, because I've noticed on-road it's not as stiff. This was a little stiff for a while. I was almost disappointed in the suspension setup, but after I went to that off-road event, really pushing it hard, I think it softened it up a bit and got it settled in quite a bit better. So coilovers in the front, raised 3 inches in the front, Cognito upper control arms, Elka coilovers in the back. There's a 2-inch block under the leaf spring, so 2 inches in the rear. Elka shocks in the back, nothing else. So coilovers up 3 inches, block up 2 inches. So it's like a 1-inch leveling kit at the end of the day. So that's just how it would sit. This is equivalent to leveling an AT4 height-wise. So that is what this is. It started life as an elevation trim. That's where this started. I do still want to get an aftermarket bumper. This clearance could be better, and I am looking forward to getting more light bars, some extra lighting, that sort of thing. I think it'll be great. It'll be a big upgrade. Clearance is good on the sides. I have not high centered on anything. I do go to some pretty rowdy places with work. It's done great. Now there's gonna be a few of y'all that are like, what other modifications did you do? Well, I'll make a video on every modification I have done to this truck, because there are quite a few, some small, some big, but the main ones are gonna be the wheels, tires, the suspension, We added some diode dynamic off-road lights here. This turned brown, no idea why, super weird. This plastic bezel, never had that happen before, but some off-road lights, they're really bright, really good. I'd rather have a bigger light bar for a bigger impact. It's getting a little windy, and I'm assuming that it's getting noisy for y'all. So I'm gonna jump in and give y'all the last point, which is going to be buying advice. There we go, that's better. So my last point of this review is going to be advice for people looking to buy a Sierra. If you're watching this video, you don't own a Sierra yet, this part is for you, because I bought the elevation trim. It goes SLE, elevation, SLT, AT4, AT4X, there's Denali's mixed in there, and then AT4X AEV edition. So think about what you want to do with your truck and how much money do you have to spend. Are you going to go buy a fancy truck? You want every option, every bell and whistle, and go do the AT4X AEV edition. You have everything. You have massaging seats. You got the world in your pocket. You're gonna pay for it. You're gonna pay $30,000-$40,000 more than what I paid for this truck. But if you have that to spare, cool. I would buy one too. So, but if you're on a little bit more of a budget, the list price for this truck was like 60 or 63. I don't remember. I got it for $12,000 off. I added the leather seats. You can do that. And then, you know, I got a decent trade-in on my last truck. So this elevation has, and I'm biased because I got the elevation, but it's worth looking. This is the elevation. Now, the only thing in here that the AT4 is different, the screen is tilted a little different, slightly different. Shout out to the guy who commented that. I thought this was the same in all of them. It is not. But essentially, this is the same. Screen is just tilted a little different. The button setup is different. But everything is the same, except you get a heads-up display up here. This has a heads-up warning if you're going to run into somebody, but it doesn't have, like, your speed. So you get that. And you get cooled seats. But the elevation has heated seats already. Like, you don't need, unless you really want cooled seats, you have everything besides, like, those two things and maybe some, like, lane assist, 360 camera stuff. And I mean, let's be real, if you really, really want that stuff, you can go get it. But, you know, if you think back 4 years ago, that never existed and we were fine. So if you want to spend the extra $8,000 on it, be my guest. I would rather put $8,000 into off-road suspension or street suspension or making it fun, making it your own, because I like to modify things. And then, of course, if you want a street truck, Denali is kind of like, that's your ticket right there. Motor-wise, 2.7 liter Turbo Max, you have the 5.3 liter V8, the 3.0 Duramax, and the 6.2. I've had the 5.3 for 100,000 miles, and I currently have the Duramax. I really, really enjoy the Duramax if the extra maintenance cost doesn't bother you. But the 5.3 was just fine. I had the 6.2 for like 2 or 3 weeks. Super, super fast, terrible gas mileage. I like to drive long distances and go camping, so it killed it for me. Getting like 14 miles per gallon was not going to work. And I don't have much to say about the 2.7 just because I don't have experience on it. I'm not going to say anything for or against it. Go test drive it, check it out if that's good enough, because if it is good enough for you, you'll save some money there. But you're going to get a lower level trim. So, super biased to the elevation. The only other thing I would mention, if you are looking for four-wheel drive, if you want 4 high and 4 low, you have to get the X31 package right here. This is a requirement for that. And if you don't get the X31 and you have a 4x4, you essentially buy the Max Tow package, which you get better towing capability, but you only have 4 high and 2 high. You'll only have these 2 buttons. You won't have the 4 low option. So if that's not a problem for you, then that's fine. But if you do like to go off-road and you think you may or have found yourself in a situation where you need 4 low, then you might consider making sure that you have the X31 package. It doesn't cost like that much more. I think it's like $1,000 on the sticker. It's just a different model. That's all it is. It's like you're picking one versus the other. So don't ignore that if that's what you're looking for. I'm saying that because these are things that mattered to me. Y'all have your own opinions, so leave your comments down below. Let me know what you need to know, what you're trying to know. I'll try to help out as much as I can. If I miss your comment, hit me up on Instagram. I've had some much more long-term dialogue with people over there. Try to help y'all out with like whatever your question is. You have a question about a lift kit, or you want to know which motor to pick, or whatever. I can talk through pros and cons, what you're trying to do. I don't have all the answers, but I'm happy to talk through it and help y'all out, or just debate whatever. If you like the Ranger Raptor or ZR2 Colorado, I don't care. I like talking about trucks. So hopefully that's helpful. But guys, I think that's going to do it for the review. Truck's been super great. Really no complaints. Super happy. Pine cones are still here. You know, the important things. And we have some updates on the Tundra coming. The Tundra is back. It had its entire motor replaced. For those of y'all still sticking around, and those of y'all that remember the Tundra videos, that's coming. And exciting, because that means that truck is sticking around, and we're going to get that thing going. So, yeah, if you're still here, like the video. If you got all the way to this point, really helps the channel out, just like every other YouTuber says, because it's really true. It helps show the video to more people and grow the audience. But hopefully this was helpful for y'all. Hopefully you enjoyed it. But I'll see you on the next one. Peace.